Hi, I'm Jonathan Knight, and this is B-Movie Madness, the movie I'm going to review tonight. Let's find out. It's a good one, the one and only Maximum Overdrive. Now, if you never heard of Maximum Overdrive, it is literally the one and only movie directed by Stephen King, based on his short story Trucks, and he's also called this movie his worst adaptation of one of his stories. Adaptations of his stories. He calls it the worst one. Stephen King's not particularly fond of this movie. I actually love this movie. It's one of my favorite B movies of the 1980s. But I think Stephen King originally was trying to make a scary movie. If you watch the trailer to this movie, which does not have music by AC/DC, but it has a score from Halloween 3 in it, Stephen King appears in the trailer, coked out of his mind, and promising it will scare the hell out of you. As much as I love this movie, the last thing it is scary. This movie's not scary. It's not supposed to be scary. I don't know what happened in the middle of the making of it, but what ultimately came out was an entertaining as hell rock and roll B movie. I mean, they got AC/DC to do the score and music for it, so it's not going to be really a scary movie. It's going to be a fun time, and that's what it is. I know there's some people who really don't like it. I can understand that a little bit. I mean, if you're not into these certain movies, and if you go into this movie thinking this is Stephen King's one and only, Stephen King directed it, you're gonna think this movie's gonna be scary as all hell because he directed it. But no, I've never read the short story, so I have no idea, how faithful it is. I know they did I think it was direct-to-video movie called Trucks that was based on it. But I've never seen it. I can't imagine it's anything like this. But if you don't know the story, it's basically a comet passes over Earth, causing all machines to come to life and start killing everybody. And there's these group of people who are stuck in a truck stop, surrounded by trucks, including this guy right here, who's a Green Goblin truck. He's the leader of the trucks, and eventually it deals with them trying to figure out a way to survive and get out of there. The cast, for the most part, Emilio Estevez is the main actor of it. Everyone knows who Emilio is. He's pretty good as the hero. I don't think he's ever talked about this movie. If he has, someone please let me know, because I'm really interested in it. I imagine he's not really fond of it because, well, he never speaks about it, so usually whenever they don't speak about it, nothing to say. The rest of the cast, for the most part, there's Pat Hingle, Commissioner Gordon from the Tim Burton, Joel Schumacher Batman movies. He plays the sleazy owner of the truck stop, and he's a lot of fun. Yeardley Smith, Lisa Simpson herself from The Simpsons, plays in this. She plays this a really annoying, nagging, whiny wife character in this movie that, for some reason, Stephen King didn't have a truck run her over and kill her. She's actually one of the survivors of the movie, and I even think there's an interview with Yeardley Smith on here, and I think even she was like, I'm surprised she wasn't killed. And when the actress playing the character saying that, it must be really annoying. She's very annoying. I also thought she was annoying in Legend of Billie Jean. I think Lisa Simpson's annoying. She's just annoying and has that voice, But yeah, that's most of the cast. There's some familiar faces. You're gonna notice people here and there that you've seen in other movies. The movie's pretty. It's never boring. It's pretty tightly paced. It runs about, I think, 98 minutes. And the AC/DC score is great. The music they, put in there. Who Made Who is the original song they did for it, and it's fantastic. You also got You Shook Me All Night Long, Hell's Bells, you name it. It's all good. It really helps this movie. I think the AC/DC music is one of the reasons that made this movie like a cult hit over the years. If you remove it, it's not as effective. But it's funny seeing the trailer with the Halloween 3 music, because it does give the movie a completely different feel than the AC/DC music. But yeah, I think, there's a lot of action. There's a lot of explosions. It's pretty violent for the most part. This is one of the many movies that was censored for an R rating back in the 80s. There's a interview with the special effects guy, and he talks about some of the stuff that was cut out. Like the kid getting ran over by the steamroller originally, his head exploded open. They filmed multiple takes of it, and they used the non-gory take. That's one of my favorite scenes. I think the scene where the coach gets hit in the balls with the soda machine, hits him in the balls with a soda can, then kills him. I think that whole sequence with the steamroller and everything is probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie. It's just a lot of fun. I thought the kid in the movie was actually pretty good. You know, usually kids are annoying. I actually kind of like this kid. He was less annoying than Yardley Smith's character, which is weird, but he was actually a pretty good kid. It looks fantastic. I think King did a great job. I think his direction here is actually really good. He has a great eye for action and pacing. I can understand why he never directed again because there's a lot of had a bad drug habit during the making of this. You can tell even watching the trailer that he was coked out of his mind. And I believe the DP, the director of photography, I think he ended up losing an eye through an accident involving the lawnmower in the movie. A whole bunch of shit happened. And when you watch the movie, this movie is actually like a really big movie. I mean, there's a lot of stunts, there's a lot of explosions, there's a big cast of characters. I'm surprised he tackled such a big project. I would actually think he'd pick something much smaller, much more personal in this movie. I'm kind of curious why he picked this movie of all his stuff. Why he picked this movie to direct first, and ultimately, because of everything that happened, being the only one. I think he's expressed maybe interest in directing again, but I don't think it'll happen. I think he's just going to let other people take care of it because other people are doing a great job. Andy Muschietti, who's doing the It movies, those were big hits. There's Pet Sematary remake comes out next month. I'm not sure if it's going to be good or not, but still, Stephen King is in now, and I think he's letting other people take care of his projects. But if you've ever seen Maximum Overdrive, I highly, highly recommend it. Going in, if you've never seen it, going in, it is not a scary movie. It is a very, what's the word? It's a batshit insane B movie. It's big, it's explosive, it has an AC/DC score, so if you absolutely hate AC/DC, this movie will be like torture for you because this movie is basically AC/DC, trucks running over people, things exploding. Emilio Estevez being Emilio Estevez like he was in the 80s, badass. And you got a Green Goblin truck that's running over people, which is pretty cool, if you ask me. So I do highly recommend this. I mean, go in knowing that stuff. It's not going to be a scary movie. Don't watch the trailer because Stephen King says he will scare the hell out of you. If you are scared by this, fine. It's not a scary movie. It's a fun drive-in movie. It's the kind of movie you sit back, big bowl of popcorn, open up a few cold ones, and have a good time. This Blu-ray was released by Vestron. For some reason, it was available in Walmart. It's the only Vestron movie I've ever seen available in Walmart. Stephen King did not participate in the extras. They did ask him, and he very kindly said no thank you because he just didn't want to talk about it. But there's like auto commentary with a guy who wrote a book on Stephen King. I thought commentary was kind of boring. He barely talks about Maximum Overdrive, so I wasn't really interested. There's one by Jonah Ray, who is the latest host of Mystery Science Theater 3000, and Blumhouse executive Ryan Turk. That one's a lot of fun. It's more like a fan commentary, but it's fun. It's much better than the author commentary with the biographer of Stephen King. There's a shitload. The rest of the stuff is a shitload of interviews. Interviews with some of the actors. The actor played Kid, Yardley Smith, the love interest of the movie. The special effects guy is interviewed. The people in the town that they filmed in are interviewed, and they show all the locations where they filmed at. They also talk briefly about the AC/DC soundtrack, which I thought that interview, I thought that was way too short. I really wanted to hear more about the AC/DC's participation in this movie. But at least they do talk about it, and they talk to the guy who actually saved the Green Goblin head from this truck. He found it and cleaned it up, and now he takes it everywhere, and people have photos with it. And it's really cool that like a fan did that. They took a piece of the movie and they're keeping it in good shape. They repainted it because it was faded, and that's pretty cool because this is that Green Goblin head is badass. Now, as a kid, I thought that was my favorite thing about it besides AC/DC. I was like, I like that Green Goblin truck. But yeah, I highly recommend this Blu-ray. The transfer is pretty good. I think it could have been a little better because restaurant Blu-rays are kind of expensive. But it's still pretty good, and I think it's the best we're going to get unless somehow somebody does another special edition. Maybe if they find the uncut version, which they did try to find it for this Blu-ray, and it doesn't exist anymore. Well, they couldn't find it, so far it doesn't really exist, but it could be out somewhere, buried. Somebody could be holding on to the uncut print of this with all the gore. But I recommend this. I recommend watching the movie. Maybe rent it first, and if you like it, I do recommend this Blu-ray. If you love the movie and don't have this, do so as soon as possible. You never know if these things are going to go out of print, and you don't want to end up paying hundreds of dollars for it. Or if you do, I don't know. But so I recommend picking this up. More reviews in the future. I got Motel Hell in the works, and a review of the Tommy Wiseau movie. I gotta watch it first because it's a two-part movie. The Tommy Wiseau movie, Best Friends, Volume 1 and 2. I can't wait to see what those are like. I know very little about them except for what my friend Michael has told me. So look forward to it. So I got those. The Best Friends review is going to be, both parts are going to be one review. So I got 2 reviews in the works. Motel Hell will most likely be next because I've already seen the movie. But if you like my channel, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe. Tell your friends about it. If you want to talk to me, just comment below. Comment below and we'll talk and we'll chill. But that's it for now. I'm Jonathan Knight, and this has been B Movie Badness. Thanks for watching.